Three, two, one. We're live, everybody. Welcome to Vaguely News or Vaguely True, whatever it's called, with your host, Rob Vega. Today is April 16th, 2026, and we'll be back right after this.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Road Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
The best part about your intro is that it was nice enough for the Queen to do that before she died.
It was indeed.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. That's all right. Yesterday we posted Arnold Schwarzenegger and I smoking a cigar because we're tight like that.
Did you do that? What was that like?
It was like an Arnold.
Did you like the stogie? Did you smoke the stogie, Stephen?
We smoked the stogie, me and Arnie and my three bears. So it's on my Instagram. You can check it out below. Okay. There you go.
That is, something that is fantastic. I want to encourage you to smoke a lot of stogies. It's good for you. It pumps you up. Steven,
that's right. Pumps you up. Yeah, I know. I love it. Today's a day of impressions. So there's so much to cover in so little time. Last week, here we go.
I have to say, one of the things that is absolutely of no interest to anybody, but only to me, is every time we do these, I've literally come off a 3-hour radio show. So I am kind of slaughtered a bit. But anyway, and the last time we did this, I'd had a crazy show, and I came here, and I think I might have been a bit unglued. I looked at it and I went, "What?"
It's a normal
because I was making the big mistake of trying to be reasonable with unreasonable people. So that is
true. That is true.
And I was trying not to, and I do it on my show as well. I try to have an opinion, but not a side. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think everybody should have a strong opinion, but don't be tribal about it. If your side screws up, then that's it. And if the other side screws up, well, that's obviously easier for you. And then also get away from sides. You should be on your side. What's good for me? And very seldom. I mean, I knew the set of twins at school. They kind of looked the same, but they deliberately went to different schools. They tried to be different. So I went to one fancy high school with the one twin, and the other twin went to the other fancy school so they could spend their teenage years at boarding school apart from each other and develop differently and obviously become very different. And the weirdest thing was the more they tried to be separate, the more they were the same.
Right.
The one crazy thing is they were identical twins. What was weird is even though they were identical and the one was left-handed, the other was right-handed, their handwriting was the same. It was the strangest thing. And we had one of these crazy socials. They used to call them socials because if you go to a boys-only boarding school, you need to have a social with a girls' school. Because that's great. That was a great idea in the 80s. Well, let's do that. Let's put female-starved boys and male-starved girls together and put them in a pavilion and play some music. I mean, that's going to be great, right? That's going to be fantastic. Anyway, but I make that point because we had the same particular girls' school come to our school and then to their school, which was a considerable distance. It was about 50 Ks, which is 30 miles or so. It was
about 30 miles.
Big distance.
Sure.
The twin at our school got hot and heavy with a particular girl. And his brother, who had no idea that this had happened, at that same. I still don't know whether it was some girl having a laugh. Went, is that the same guy? Or whether they liked the same girl. It was weird.
Okay. Anyway. And now all three of them are happily married, and it's a wonderful thing still.
Yes, in fact, I know of twins I know of twins who married to twins. I know a few, and I always think to myself, how do they know?
Yeah, that's true.
How do they know? How do they know?
You do the swapping thing.
But I seem to have known a lot of twins. I don't know what I'm talking about twins. I was talking about twins because, but they were quite different. Even though what I'm trying to say is, even when you have two very like genetically, whatever it is, identical or whatever it is that makes twins identical, they still, their personalities though were very different, and they had different views on things. And I guess I'm trying to say is, no two human beings are the same. And yet we live on a planet where, in order to create some sort of safety for ourselves, we have to belong to a gang. I mean, that's what it is. A political gang, a social gang, a country gang, a sport gang, because somehow we're going to beat the other gang. Yeah. And I think if I look back on the discussion we had last week, and you and I, we make some good points, we make some stupid points, but some comments that came up, I just thought, what? Like, argue the point. Absolutely. Argue the point. You're the one guy who said individualism is what's keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed. And then I said, well, I think it might be more of a culture thing or a gang thing. And then it was an interesting discussion. And then, are you a pedo? What? And that's what I wanted to say. And I say this to my listeners as well. Like, say, by all means, tune in, be a part of the discussion, listen to the show, watch the podcast, whatever it is. But just remember, there's an IQ minimum. Anyway,
that's true. Anyway, there's so much that's going on. By the way, talking about twins, a friend of mine, she called me, this is like 20 years ago, and she said, I just had twins. And I said, funny enough, last night, so did I. So it was a wonderful thing. So yeah, that's my twin story. There you go. It's just the way
I grew up with.
How did you? Well, they were together at the same time. I actually grew up with a set of twins, and I don't know if Jane and Jill, I think their last name was Mole. I grew up with them, and it was funny, but there was like one slight difference where you could tell that one was one. And at the beginning, though, for the first couple of months, it took a while. And there was another set like 15 years later named Brian and Keith that I grew up with. And they were twins, but they're definitely different. Like both of them, the girls and the guys, hair were the same. Everything was the same. It's just they had little quirks so you could tell the difference.
Okay.
So there you go. There you go. That's it. That's my excitement.
Okay. Vive la différence. So,
yes.
So Steve.
Yes, I am.
I didn't want to, obviously, because you're there, you're in Austin, you're an American, I've lived there. We sort of keep defaulting into American politics. And I got to be honest with you, as interesting as that is for me, I realize that I have at best 5 years combined lived experience in the US. So, okay. So anybody is going to go, yeah, what does he know? Well, okay. And we could argue that point, but that's always going to be an issue. But I, at some point, want to discuss what's going on here, but I'm not sure that's going to be super interesting for a lot of people. I will say, when the president here from South Africa went to see President Trump at the White House, and they had that discussion, and then they put the lights down and watched a movie, and held hands. Sure. I don't know about that. And they played that video of the one guy in this country who always jumps down and he goes, it's called kill the boer, which means kill the farmer. Yeah. And obviously President Trump's like, well, what's going on? Look at this. And Ronald Pauls was like, oh. Well, side note, that guy, his name's Julius Malema, today, on my show, today, the newscaster, the newsreader came in and told me that, and then proceeded to read it, obviously, that he has just been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Wow. So, because he was firing, apparently he was firing a gun, I don't know, machine gun, whatever, automatic, at a gathering. And
well, if you're going to fire something.
They didn't like that. So
apparently not. Those bullets.
I just thought I'd bring that into the whole American, South African political whatever that is. And, there
And here's the funny part.
Yeah.
Only 4 people in America know where South Africa is. So not so much. But you know what we did talk about off the air last week, which we were going to talk about this week, other than Trump and the oil and the war and how the world's coming to an end next week, which is fine. We were going to talk about religion and UFO.
Yes.
And we just had the whatchamacallit, that little spaceship went around the CGI, and everyone got all excited that we CGI'd the spaceship around the moon again. Omega's going to come out with another watch with Snoopy as a CGI on the watch. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
I hope you're joking.
Yes, I believe we did go to the moon. When I was at the moon last week at the hotel, it was very nice.
So I got a guy, one of our tech guys at the radio station.
Yep.
He is a nice chap.
Right.
I have a drink with him. He seems friendly enough. And I had this conversation with him about the moon landing, and he is definitely of the opinion the whole thing was faked. The original Apollo was all
right.
And then I had those discussions of, the thing where, he says, why can't you see the stars? And I said to him, well, that's because that was the day. It's daytime on the moon.
Yeah.
You can't see the stars.
Right.
Oh, why is it black? Well, there's no atmosphere. If you took away the Earth's atmosphere, you would just see black as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had one of those discussions at the end of it. And I said, "Are you really? You don't think we did that? Well, the world, Earth, man,
the world, right? People
put a man on the moon." He said, "No, it was all fake." And I said, "Okay, all right, fine, sure." I sent him some stuff. He sent me some stuff. Whatever, those conspiracy things. But I said to him, "Here's the problem with a very simple thing. Conspiracy theories, in my view, can have legs. Sure. If there's somebody getting something out of it. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying they're true, but you go, I can see why why you might think this. Whether it's true or not, that's not the point. I can see why you might think, and speaking of, we'll get into the religion thing shortly, but I can see why you might think that this could be true. Because someone's making money, or someone's wiping someone out and they're happy about whatever it is. Someone's winning. Someone's winning somewhere. And I said, what possible benefit is it to anyone if the moon landings were fake or not? I don't think people give that much of a shit. You don't win enough. So they're fake, so they won't. Whatever. Yeah. Does it matter? So why would someone go to that extraordinary trouble to make up a story that no one gives a shit about?
Well, here's the funny thing. Two things. One, yes, I really believe what we went there. Two, I'm astounded that NASA's lost all the documentation on how we got there. That in itself is pretty funny. And three, it's true. Like if you say to them, show us the original blueprints, that they can't find them. The archives are like they magically disappeared. Okay. And the other thing is that back in the 60s, it was a race between the good and the bad, right? You had communist Russia and China and us. So one of us had to get to the moon first. So we got to the moon first, allegedly. But I did speak to a friend of mine who is the head of the Polish version of NASA. And he was telling me that they plan to go to the sun. I go, really? That's not good. He goes, no, we're going to go at night. And I was like, yeah, awesome. So
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. There you go.
I like that. That's very good. I like that.
There you go. That. But it's so. I was like,
I like that.
I look at Aramis 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and then like someone sent me the videos of the astronauts and things are grainy and they're not in the wheelchair, and I'm like, I don't really care anymore. I look at it this way: there's UFOs out there. If I'm going to go anywhere, and when I do go to the moon or Pluto, I do take the UFO. It bends time and space. I don't sit on, 80 billion gallons of hydrogen or fuel that's going to go boom if some idiot that bid the lowest price to build the tank wins and it goes boom. So I go with the alien technology, get back and forth in 2-3 minutes. I'm good. This man technology, not so much.
Wait a minute. Yeah. You're going about this the wrong way. If you want to go to the moon, you need to get a hold of that FEMA guy and figure out how he teleported.
Oh, he's the guy.
Did you hear about that?
Tell everybody about the story.
I forget his name. He's like Miller, or can you remember his name? You can look up his name. So if you want to look up his name and see what
the head of FEMA, is that who I'm looking for?
He's something to do with FEMA. And for some inexplicable reason, he's got this thing in his head that he was going to a Waffle House somewhere in Georgia, I think, and a rainy night in Georgia, and he was on his way to Waffle House, and then somehow he found himself at another Waffle House, like 50 miles away, and he had no idea. And people said, "Oh, that's crazy! How can you be there? You've just left." And he spoke of other stories where he'd woken up in the ditch or he had done stuff, and people said, fascinating, but those are literally the same stories that people who have blackouts tell.
Right.
I don't know how I got you. I must have teleported.
Yeah. Greg Phillips.
Steve. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to teleport, or you know someone who can
teleport, or Waffle House,
why would you? I mean, there are other places you could go, like the moon. Obviously, make sure you've got the suit on or whatever.
But do you really need the suit? You know what I'm saying? Do you really need it? No one's been there. I mean, when they were there, they don't know. How do you know? Like when I go to Pluto, I just bring a bathing suit, and it's very nice there. Right. And you go to the underground, and it's good. I get a kick out of this. So anyway, the guy we're talking about is Greg Phillips. Greg Phillips was appointed the head of FEMA in 2025. Way to go, Donnie. Yeah. And he said he has teleported many times, whether it be the Waffle House or wherever it is. Apparently, he went to the sun at night. So he's teleported all over. So there you go. And so Mr. Phillips there you go.
And may I say, Mr. Phillips, yes. I think the fact that you have not shared that information with the rest of the class is that's very selfish of you.
I agree.
Just think, you could get all the oil out of Iran to just teleport it. I don't know.
The Strait of Hormuz. You could teleport a ship. The Philadelphia experiment.
Just think of the tech. Just think of the applications. If you could just move stuff without having to go through things like the Strait of Hormuz or whatever. You could just beam it over. Somebody had a great joke, and they said, "Oh, Jim, beam me up, Scotty." Scotch, whatever.
Yeah. No, I caught that. I was, I'm sure in some places that's funny where they don't speak English. Anyway, so with the UFO thing and God, so here's the question now. So
are the religion thing?
Why not? It's fun to do religion because people get hysterical. We did Donnie in the war. We're good. But if you look at UFOs and we look at what God is theoretically then God the alien? Because we look at them as their advanced technology. Because it's definitely not an old guy with a white beard. Because the guys I play with on Thursday night poker and smoke cigars from the Illuminati, reptile club, not so much. So, just saying.
Well, it's a weird one because I think when I was a kid, I was obviously brought up in this religious environment and followed all of that, and I thought, and I've always subscribed to the idea that, well, it's clear there's a lot we just don't know. And then, of course, the position that people say, okay, so because you don't know, you just think, wow, there's some being. No, not at all. But my view is, if there's something up, if that makes sense, there's something going on and we don't know, and I don't think we are smart enough or whatever to know. Is it a guy in a white cloak or beard? I probably don't think so. But the truth is, here's when it comes to religion. This is my take on religion. It's a nice idea, and I followed some of the tenets, and I hope, but nobody knows, not for sure. I mean, I had a priest who once said to me, and he was being, I don't know if he had a few. Sure, but we had a very honest conversation, and he said we were talking about faith, and he said faith is because you don't know, and I went, oh, like you don't know. If you knew, you wouldn't need faith. So in other words, if you take a boat through the Strait of Hormuz,
that's a lot of faith,
and you hope you don't know, you don't know you're going to make it.
That's true.
You could slap a Chinese flag on and hope for the best.
Oh,
but you don't know. Yeah. And that's faith. Because you hope. Yeah. What's the Alphaville song? Hope for the best, expect the worst. You don't know. Because if you knew, here's the thing he said to me, he said, if we knew, in other words, if God or whatever came down and said, Hey guys, it's me. You good? I'm God. I'm God. Hello. And then we knew that was God.
All right.
It does beg the question. Then why stick around? What are we doing? What's the point? What's the
Well,
no, hang on.
see,
Let me work with me. So what is
yeah.
the point? What I'm saying is, if the next life or whatever is so great, and this is so crap with boats getting stuck in canals and people fighting and arguing, come on. I mean, I want to go to that.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law is an ardent atheist, and I respect that. That's fine.
Sure.
No problem. I don't take a personal grudge or hatred towards someone who has a view. That's fine.
Right.
There's a very good reason for that. The absence of what they believe or someone believes is evidence.
Right.
Okay. It makes sense. It makes absolute sense. And then you could say, well, it depends what you think is evidence. There are so many great things. And then you say, but there's evolution. Things have evolved. But then how would they know how to evolve? Whatever. I always say, I don't know either. I don't know that there isn't something, and I'm not 100% certain there is. So, and that is as much as I know. I know because I don't know.
Right.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
It does. Now, let me just say this about hope and faith. First of all, hope is much better than faith. Let me tell you, faith is a prude. Now, that we've covered she's a prude. Hope, on the other one, is a slut. Love her to death. Now we've discussed the two chicks. Let's get into God. Here's the problem I have with God. First of all, being Jewish, if I may, because people don't know that. We have the Old Testament, right?
You never mentioned that.
I never mentioned it. So we've got this Old Testament. It's very nice. And in the Old Testament, so we know, God worked. He did a lot of smiting. He did a lot of this. He did a lot of that. People got turned into, he burned down some. He's 17 billion years old. You constipated. But he blew up a building. He turned some chicken to salt. It was a whole thing. He had a flood. He was just annoying. Right? In the New Testament, like Logan, he killed the firstborn. It was like, Moses, you're going to do this with the 15 commandments. He dropped one. It became 10. Everyone saw the History of the World with Mel Brooks. That's true. That's a factual thing.
10 commandments.
That's 10 commandments. So actually, there's like over 600, but we only, like, my Bible is
That's
great.
right. You guys have got 600 commandments.
600, but we've changed it a little where it says, thou shalt covet thy neighbor's wife. We've changed a few things. There you go. So could we get a discount? That's actually number one. Just so we're clear, that goes, thou shalt get a discount, and then thou shalt have no other gods before me, and then you'll covet thy neighbor's wife. Don't pay retail. That's what Gentiles are for. But then I go into this New Testament, the fable, as I like to call it, because you guys made that shit up. And it's about some guy who came to earth. Please. First of all, there's no God all of a sudden. All of a sudden, in the New Testament, God decided I'm taking off. Like, I'm done. I did like whatever. I made the aliens. They're flying in spaceships. They're going to the sun at night. Now I got nothing. And then in the New Testament, it's like he didn't show up, except in the book of Revelations, you have some scary dreams. That's it. We're done. Okay, so where's God? Where's God today? Like someone said to me, I think I've said this before. There was a Jewish guy who dies and goes to heaven, and he meets God, and he's a survivor of the Holocaust, and they're talking, and he said, you were talking, and God says, I'm everywhere, and I do this and I do that. And he goes, really? Because you weren't around in the 40s. So if you think about it, right, why would you let something like that happen? So it's a very interesting thing when you look at it. That's why. The 40s, that would be the Holocaust. Just trying to help you out, with the history. Go ahead.
Come on, you've got to do that joke with a guy. He gets up to wherever, but he's young. He's like in his late 30s, and he's sitting in front of PETA or whatever.
Yeah, God.
And he's trying to say, listen. He says, I'm not supposed to be here now. I don't know why you've taken me off. I've got shit to do.
Right.
And the guy says, hang on a second. Well, you're 106. And he says, no, I'm 35. And he says, not according to your billing.
I like it. That's good. It's like you heard about the alligator? We're going to tell jokes now. You heard about the alligator that died and went to heaven, right?
Yeah.
You ever heard this? Have you heard this?
No.
Okay.
Coming.
I'm going to tell you. So this alligator is on a golf course. This guy, hits a golf ball, hits him in the head. So he dies. He goes to heaven. And St. Peter's like, you're early, you can go back. And the alligator goes, I'm only going to go back on 3 conditions. And St. Peter's like, all right, what's your 3 conditions? He goes, 1, I want to play golf. He's like, all right, we can make that happen. He goes, 2, I want a polo shirt. He goes, a polo shirt? He goes, yeah, a polo shirt with a little Jew on the pocket. So anyway, it's just, but I'm here till Thursday. Tip your waitstaff. That's for the Argyle people that wear the little alligators. They were big in the 80s, just to let everybody know.
Okay.
Oh my God. It's like, I don't think they make the alligator shirt at polo shirts anymore.
I think you said Jew.
A little Jew on the pocket. Right.
Is that a Jew? Is that what an alligator is?
No, they did. All the Jews in the 80s would play golf with. Let me explain this for the hearing impaired. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get smited. Poof, but God's on holiday, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so my thing is then with the UFOs and God, which came first? Because the new hypothesis, we live within a black hole.
Can I give you, this is just, I'm a messenger.
Oh, here we go.
I am a messenger.
Oh,
no,
good.
I'm not gonna wear red shit with light coming out of my head. No, it's not that kind of message.
Just checking.
But I am an ardent, I like science. I'm a science guy. I like science.
I know you are.
Thank you. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I'm a science guy. You should stop. That's intimidating, Steve.
I'm a messenger.
Okay, you're messaging. Okay, you channeling.
I'm channeling.
So what was I going to say? Okay, so this is something. As I say, I caught this on the science as it went by on the science news conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have. I don't know why Italy comes to mind. It might be in Italy. They have managed to. I don't know if they've done it or they've proved it that two particles can exist in the same place.
Yeah.
Right. And that throws open a very interesting thing because that means mass is in 2 places at once. And if you infer and extrapolate and whatever, then we get into time. Then it's basically you've got something that's in 2 different time zones at the same time, and by extension, what they're saying is that time is there's no such thing as time.
Right.
We just are.
Yeah.
And using a 3-dimensional approach, because obviously there's a million dimensions, not the 12D chess. Is it 12? Does it 12? Does he play 12D chess? Not that. It's not 12D chess. It's too easy. And we just track through this.
Oh, look at you!
We're tracking through, and if something happens, then your line changes. But the past you, the present you, the future you, it's all here now, and it's whatever now
is,
because we're using the wrong terminology to describe something that just is, and that's quite freaky. It's quite interesting. Forget it. So, and again, just a messenger. What it then addresses is the time problem. Who created what? Who created first? Then there's no such thing. It just is. Nothing was created. We just are.
Right.
And our puny little brains have no way of understanding that. So back to the good book. I don't know.
Yeah, well, forget. Like I said, it's a cute fable. I like it. It's got some good history in there. It's nice. Some guy with a beard created something and said, whatever. Ridiculous. So I always say, if you meet it, if like when we have the drinks with guys from the Reptile Club and the Grays, I'm like, so on a scale to 1 to 10 in evolution, we're like a 5 or a 6, right? Because there's something before us and blah 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 blah. So who is 0? I always want to know who is the first, right?
Yeah.
And when now the new hypothesis is that our universe and galaxy is within a black hole.
Oh.
And I said, you should see some of the girls in New York City in the 60s. But anyway, but I'm just saying, so now our university.
I will take your word for it. I will
thank you very little. But so we're supposedly now in a black hole. So what's happening is as we get more science or we get more alien technology, I guess, we come up with these different hypotheses because we're trying to explain X. I know, right? And nobody can.
Black hole.
I know, right? Hello. But nobody can. And I think that's what's interesting. That's why when the CIA did their Gateway project and they talk about the absolute, I'm like, well, that's interesting. This was all the remote viewers and all this other stuff. I find that fascinating, but I'm like, that's just, again, another hypothesis of a long line of hypotheses.
But you see, this is what you and I were talking about. Here's what's true. This is the part I believe is true.
Right.
We have no idea. We don't.
I agree with that 1,000%.
We don't know. And because just now, one of the Wachowski, I think they're sisters now, or they're sisters now. They were brothers. They're now sisters.
Right. Well, of course they are.
One of the Wachowski sisters is going to go cut, and then all the things will drop, and we'll go, we're in a Waffle House.
Right.
I teleported to a Waffle House. It's a Waffle House. We are all in a Waffle House, Stephen.
That's true. Greg Phillips from FEMA is going to teleport onto the show any second now. I'm going to be very excited, and because but to your point earlier,
can I just say one thing? I want to just thank Mr. Phillips for coming up with such a great talking point. I thank you very much. I really appreciate that, because if he'd looked all weird and like colored hair and you'd go, he's a whack job. But he looks like a boring old grandpa, and he teleported. Okay, this is funny. Anyway, back to you.
No, but I was going to say, the nice thing about it is when you have dementia, you can teleport wherever you want. So that's the important thing. So
brilliant.
Yes, it's just beautiful. I'm sure your children are really happy. Could you imagine you go to school and some kid's sitting there and you go, my dad's Greg Phillips, and you'd be like, we're sorry. It's kind of like, dude, you teleport. So it's like, but but here's what's really funny. I've invited on our show. I'll invite Greg Phillips now. And we've invited Bob Lazar, which we know Bobby is never going to come on the show because he's a serious scientist and we're not serious, but I would love to hear his story. We invited the senator on from Tennessee who said in an interview a couple of weeks ago, if he would tell the American people what he knows about UFOs, they would be hysterical. They'd mass pandemonium. And I've said to these, we sent them emails and said, hey, you should come on. I said, come on this show with Rob Vega. I said, because we can actually do a serious show with you. And we would both love to do that because we're fascinated. And we always they decline because they're like, no, we don't think so. I'm like, all right. So we invite anybody who has knowledge, like all these astronauts that are dying, that are going, there's aliens, or we didn't go to the moon. We did go to the moon. The moon is hollow. We live on Pluto, whatever it is. We always invite them on the show and nobody shows up.
I have something I want to say about the moon, though, which is quite interesting.
Please. It's up there.
So it's
all here.
But is it?
Is it? I know.
So, if you look across the solar system and you've got all the planets, formerly 9, now 8, because apparently Pluto didn't qualify. Whatever.
I'm a little still upset about that. I don't want to discuss that.
Now you can't swim on Pluto anymore, Stephen.
Well, I still go there because
you go there. Okay.
It's I'm slumming.
So we got these 8 planets, and some of them have got, I don't know, God knows how many satellite moon things around them. Right. But here's the thing. All of them, Saturn, Jupiter, whatever, all those moons have names. They've all got names. Right. What about ours? Why doesn't ours get a name?
We do. We call it the moon.
I'm just asking on behalf of the moon, because the moon's pretty upset about it. I mean, why? I mean, you're not just Guy, you're Stephen. At least you get a name. The moon's like, who am I? What am I? I don't get a name. Why don't I'm just the moon.
You know what we're going to call the moon now? Jeffrey. The moon's new name is now Jeffrey. Jeffrey, congratulations. There you go. The moon is now Jeffrey. There you go. Why doesn't the moon have a name? There you go.
So that's why no one can land on it.
Because you can't land on you. Or we can call it, here's the best part, or we call it Debbie. And then we can say, we just landed on Debbie, but bump. And there you go. And look at the craters on Debbie, and look at the hole on Debbie, or look at this on Debbie. Look at the mounds on Debbie. Oh, this is a beauty. I think we should call it Debbie.
Nobody gets away from Debbie.
Well, that's true. Debbie pulls every 12 hours. Debbie go in and out with the cycle. But here's what I find very interesting about the moon in general. When it's like 7 or 8 in the morning, I can see the moon right here. Now, theoretically, this is our planet and this is the moon. And Australia is over here. They see the moon all bright and shiny. I'm like, how do you see the moon if the planet's blocking the moon? That's
Are you
always been
asking-
my question.
Are you asking me that?
No, I'm just throwing it out there as I mean, like I get the science
I can answer
behind
that.
it. Oh, please, I'm fascinated.
Oh, I can answer that.
Okay, go ahead.
That is not true.
It's
That
flat
is
moon,
not
flat
true.
Earth. Then flat Earth.
No,
Got it.
you
Okay.
can't see if you're in if the moon is above us, where I am,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won't be able to see it, not at all. It rises and it's at different times around the Earth. So that
No, I get that
question.
part. However, I see the moon sometimes at like 7 or 8 in the morning here. And I can talk to a friend of mine in Australia and he'll be like, oh, mate, it's a gorgeous half moon or full moon. And I'm thinking, how are you seeing the moon when it's still here?
Well, are you asking me?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, he might be able to see it, but it's not in the same position as you.
No, I get that. I'm just like, but our Earth in theory is blocking it. How are you seeing it? I got that.
You're there. You're there. There's the moon. You'll see it. He'll see it. But if it's here, and they'll see it. They won't. It's
right. Well, now, like I don't see it right now because they see it because rotation. I get that, but there's some parts of that sometimes where I'm like, it's just interesting to think through that when people go, I see the moon. I'm like, hey, good for you. Like, it's like I see it too, but you shouldn't.
I'm not sure what your point is unless you're a flat earther.
I'm not a flat earther. And I find that somewhat interesting, except when the rocket ships go up into space, wink, wink, and take pictures from the moon. And then they show this big marble, which is very nice. And then I'm like, well, there you go. It's round, kind of, I think, sort of. So I'm just fascinated by all of it.
Okay. All right.
So I get to go there. Like I said, going to Pluto is totally different. You take a little UFO craft, boom, done.
I see we left the religion thing, which is fine. That's good.
No, we can go back to religion, but it's religion.
No, I just want to. No, that's fine. I want to say just on the Earth thing, which I've slightly serious. I'm not sure if this is serious or jokey. I'm not sure. But even as a kid, I always thought because I was a total. Maybe I still am. I was a bit of an environmental science nerd. I believe in things like climate change, not warming, climate change.
Right.
I am science.
Sure.
And I always thought to myself, what is interesting is if you look at the way nature works, with one or two notable exceptions, maybe dolphins who've got some personality issues, we seem to be the only ones. First of all, human beings seem to be the only ones that commit rape. We're the only ones that. Okay, now I lean into that point because there are a lot of things that humans are that you don't see anywhere else in nature. But the thing that really stands out for me is the fact. God, this got dark all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Is that we build things. We go and populate the earth and we put things up. It always seems like we take away from the planet. We don't add to it. We always we seem to be, our ability to integrate with the planet is not great. Whereas all kinds of other creatures, insects, animals, plants, whatever, they all seem to be working, or did seem to work very well with each other. And even though we're apparently the brightest and most intelligent species on the planet, bullshit. We just seem to have, we just like the drunk guy at a party who just messes the party up. Everyone else is having a good time. Everything's working fine. That guy delivers, that guy takes away, that guy paints, that guy cleans. It all works nicely. And then man comes along and it all just goes to shit. And earlier on, you were saying something about the creation and evolution. I remember as a kid reading, they said, if you condensed the history of the planet into 100 years, 100 years, we arrived 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. We are fairly new occupiers of this planet. And I always thought to myself, where did we come from? Because I've never believed we descended from apes. I don't believe that, because my grandfather he put this in my head. He said, if we came from apes, then we shouldn't have apes. We shouldn't have apes. Because if we are apes, then we are the highest form of existence of that species. And that's true of other species. The the most advanced, the most evolved wins, and they're the only ones that remain. That's why we don't have Neanderthals, or do we? Never.
We technically do it. Have you seen some of the fans from Manchester? I mean, I'm just saying.
But, well, there's still, according to my daughter who studies this stuff, there is still Neanderthal material in our genetics. But that's another story. But what I'm saying is, we coexist with the apes, but we're similar, but we're not.
Right.
But they didn't seem to screw the planet up like we have done royally. And I always say, we're pretty good at that. We're fairly new. And it makes you think, Stephen, because I know you like UFOs, are we actually from this planet, Stephen?
I say no, and here's why. We're the only species on the planet, as far as I know, that can get sunburn.
Right.
Think about that. So, like, I take my dog for a 10-mile hike in the sun.
That's true.
I have to wear 8,000 things to make sure that I don't get sunburnt. And meanwhile, if you did, all the animals on the Serengeti lay out there getting all the vitamin D they want without a problem. So that goes back then to UFOs and possibly, are we genetically engineered? Are we here? Did we colonize Earth? Which is also a very interesting hypothesis.
Or were we dumped here? Did someone come and go, I can't deal with this crap. Just put them on that planet. Just take them away.
We were penal
look at us, Stephen. Just look at us. I mean, would you, if you were like Greg Phillips and you could teleport and you had that tech, I mean, would we be the guys that you would hang out with when you go to any part of the universe? I don't think so.
Well, unless you go to the restaurant at the end of the universe.
What are these things? What have you made? Is this a human? It's not working. Just where's that? Is that? Just put it on that planet. Just get rid of it. I don't know what's going to happen to them. Don't care, don't know, get rid of them. And by the way, sell them some story about religion just to keep them happy. I'm just joking. I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm not sure.
Put a moon up, put Jeffrey or Debbie out there, and then go. I haven't told them they can go to the sun at night. No, I get that. But the thing is, just look at it this way. What happens if, according to Graham Hancock, we have forgotten our history? And if you see that there's super highways in South America and these pyramids all over the world that has technology, but if you go back, say, hundreds of millions of years, who's to say there wasn't an advanced technology? Let's just say Atlantis was real. Let's say all that really did happen. So maybe we destroyed ourselves with nuclear war. Maybe we did this, maybe we did that. So the people that got left behind were kind of like, yeah, you're like scum. We don't need you. We're going to take all the smart people and leave.
Can I just say that if Atlantis was real, and Patrick Duffy is the man from Atlantis.
Man from Atlantis, that's true.
Then it's a joke because he looks like an idiot when he swims. I'm just saying, it's the most ridiculous thing. It really is. It really, just kidding. It really is.
But just think, if you take ancient history, like a friend of mine said this a few years ago, we were having cigars and talking. He said, let's look at the Chinese zodiac. I'm like, okay. And he said, look at the Chinese zodiac. I'm like, I'm looking at the Chinese zodiac. He goes, every animal on there is real except for one. And I said, okay. And he goes, and Chinese have their myths to an extent, but to another extent, they don't. He said, so who's to say the dragon wasn't real? He said, think through it. He goes, every animal there's a tiger, a monkey, a rat, a Homo sapien, and then whatever else. And then there's this dragon. He said, so what? Who says dragons? Yeah.
I don't know the history of dragons that well, except for Game of Thrones. I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm not sure. Or Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. But what is interesting, I don't know, maybe there's a reason for this, but the Chinese have dragons and so do the Welsh and so do the British and so do the English.
So who's to say they're not
why,
real? How
did they develop?
Yeah.
Did they develop? What was that? Was that a cultural exchange of stories? I'm not sure. Or did the dragons develop independently? Because if they did, then to your point, so you guys have dragons. We got dragons too.
Yeah.
Why would we both have dragons? That's weird. Right. Anyway, I don't have dragons at all.
I'm just saying.
What about unicorns?
Well, the unicorn, I don't know. I know that I've seen some, and they were lovely, and usually at a strip club. But anyway.
Wow. Steve, one thing. You mentioned the Chinese and how advanced they were and are. Very super smart people. But here's something else. Do you get any contributions if you say the Chinese are smart? maybe a sponsor or something. I'm just wondering.
I talked to Xi. I talked to Xi yesterday, and he said I have to keep plugging the Chinese, so they keep sending me food. Yeah,
so they can go through the. So they go through
just get it removed. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
but one thing I do find absolutely fascinating about the tech that they develop is not the new tech. It's the tech is acupuncture, which I think is. I mean, like you, Guy, we always do things a bit. I don't need those tools. I'm going to do it myself. And you put your back out and you do stuff. And for many years, I would go to a physio. What a waste of time. Physiotherapist, waste of time. Sorry, physiotherapist, waste of time. Great for a nice massage, but that's about it. Until the guy I trained with, he said, chiropractor, that's what you need. You do all that. That was good. And then I got introduced to acupuncture, which I went, and it's honestly, I was a skeptic. God, am I getting paid for this acupuncture infomercial? Sorry, it suddenly turned into it. I realized, hi, you should find out. You can find out if acupuncture is right for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's actually quite an extraordinary science, and they mapped out the body. I mean, they can do things on your feet that translate into the rest of your body, and do things on your back, and you go, And they did that without a lot of the tech we have today. Then, I would imagine a few people had to move off this mortal coil to, because. Oh, sir. Okay, it's not that. Can you bring in some? I don't know. Can you bring in another?
Or they just come from something more advanced, and that they know that. Remember, the Chinese are the first one to introduce paper money. They introduced gunpowder. They theoretically made pizza, pasta. All that is from that. They've done everything.
Sunglasses. Did you know the Chinese invented sunglasses? Did you know?
Really? I do now.
Yeah, but you know why they invented sunglasses? Not
because their eyes are too small and they can't see, and they wanted to hide them, or not that. Okay,
well, yes, they did want to hide them because apparently, again, haven't Googled this. I'm a BG. I'm before Google, just to be clear. But apparently, what they did is they invented sunglasses for judges, for men in authority that were, because the eyes give things away. So when I put sun, you can't see my eyes, and it gives me an air of authority, and so you can't see what it's I guess an intimidation tactic, a way of invoking or whatever authority. Apparently that's what they did. So the judges would wear these sunglasses and go, you blah blah blah, and you couldn't see their emotion. You couldn't nothing. There was no read. You couldn't read them. Apparently. So
here you go. 12th century China. Here's what this says. 12th century China. Early sunglasses were developed not for sun protection, but primarily for judges to conceal their face expression and eyes during court proceedings. These smoky-colored lenses. No, I'm making this up out of my mind. I'm allowed to just maintain an air of strict impartiality by hiding their emotions, response, or tells while listening. The legally impaired judges in the Song Dynasty used the lenses. So this came from the Song Dynasty, everybody. So if you're from the Song Dynasty, or if you like to sing songs.
You're reading this from someone.
I pulled it from my mind.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, no, I Googled it because I was curious. Now that I know sunglasses are meant to hide my emotions, I'm going to wear them indoors.
I remember hearing about it years ago, thinking, that's kind of cool. And it's not what you would have thought, because there is so much we don't know, which is fine. It's okay. When you claim to know everything and you have that arrogance of all-knowing, and you're not willing to engage in debate, then that's why and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the Strait of Hormuz is closed.
Because of individuality and because of whatever that other person said
and
last
no one's
week.
talking, no one's chatting. We're all behaving like whatever we're behaving like, typical,
human beings.
And
here's the best part.
And everyone has got the answer, and no one knows what the answer is.
And once again, we're on this little blue marble, third rock from the sun. You make a left at Pluto when you come in from the other solar systems. It's true. I did. All you have to do is, why can't 8 billion of us just get along? I love to have the same opinion, but seriously, 8 billion people could have gotten along. That's why I always go, if Nikola Tesla was allowed to do his free energy, we would be living in a different place today.
We know why. I want
to JP Morgan.
You can't have human beings getting on. I just want to ask you something. Is there a Waffle House on Pluto?
No, we don't do that because we don't want Phillips to teleport to the Waffle House. That's apparently where all he can come from.
Don't you though?
No, we don't. We have a Four Seasons and a Mandarin, and we have a nice Ritz and a Savoy. Yeah, we try to keep it high class there, and it's very nice. No Waffle House though.
It's not a planet anymore. What are you going to do? It's not part of the solar system.
Can I tell you? Just because some little 9-year-old told Neil deGrasse Tyson, whatever the heck his name is, that it's not a planet, and he's like, it's not. Listen, it's a planet as far as I'm concerned. It'll always be a planet, and the people that live here think it's a planet.
We love you, Pluto. We love you.
That's right. We love you more than Jeffrey / Deborah. Just so you're clear. So people are tuning in late, going, "What's Jeffrey and Deborah have to do with this?" That's what we named the moon, people.
Nothing.
That's right. The new name of the moon is Jeffrey.
There are no dots to connect, so that's
right.
Surprise. There are no. We are in fact that shallow. It's fine. It's okay.
That's very true. That's right.
But no, Stephen, just your one point. Yes. You can't. The truth though is you can't. When there's world peace, it was I want world peace. Yeah. It doesn't go well because it's the calm before the storm. We've done it. We do it all the time. We shake hands, we get on, and then and then we sleep with each other's wives. I don't know.
Wait. Let me write that down. World peace, sleep with each other's wives. Okay, I'm liking this. Hey, can we have world peace sooner than later? Can we chop this? Can we get this going then? I'm just kidding. There's too many. So
I have to. This is me. I have to
leave. You have to go now.
Yeah,
I know he has to go. Folks, he'll be back if you like next week, maybe. Or this week. We'll see how he feels. It's a touchy situation. He touches himself constantly. But anyway, thank you for watching Vaguely True with Rob Vega, the #1 disc jockey in all of South Africa. That's what we tell everybody. Don't even argue the point. And there you have it. He is huge. He's huge over there. If you ask him, he'll tell you how huge he is. Anyway, that's it, kids. Love you. Mean it. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe and like. You can catch us wherever you get your podcasts or here on YouTube. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this Old Woods Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.